Mm. Mm. All right, we're gonna get started here in just a sec. It looks like it's not working for y'all. Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? Hello. Check, check. Can you hear me? I don't think so. Check, check, check. 1, 2. Yes, you can. All right, great. Awesome. Um, Hello. There we go. All right, cool. Welcome to classes CSMC 355. As you guys and gals know, today is the day that you're supposed to get your projects building by. I've gotten several queries on how to make your projects build and people having trouble. So I thought for today we could work together to try and get a few projects to build for anybody that's having trouble. So I have at least one project that I can use as an example, but if anybody else has a project that you're having trouble helping, like getting to build, this is your big chance to have me live code, try and fix it. I may or may not be able to fix the build, but I'm going to definitely give it a shot. And this will be a good way for you guys to see how somebody with some experience can take a project that he has never seen before and hopefully help get it to build, overcome some questions, as to why it's not building. And I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get everything to build, because getting projects to build is definitely a challenging thing, but I'm going to try. And even if I fail, I think what you'll see is that the kind of methodical way that I'll try and approach it, meaning like, oh, okay, it's failing. Let me go find the error as to why it's failing. Okay, that's what's making it fail. Then I'll try and fix that particular thing, and then I'll see if it fails in a different way, and so on. So I'm just going to be a detective, a very methodical detective, and that's exactly how you're going to need to get things to build in the future, even things that you haven't ever had any experience on. All right, so I believe we have one person that has shared their project with them, and we're going to see if we can get this project debugged. Let's see if we can make it happen. Again, for those of you that are still struggling to get your project to build, um, please send me the URL of your project in Slack and give David C. Shepard access, and we can do yours right after this. Here's the one we're starting with. I'm going to go ahead and accept this invitation. All right, so this one right here has no actions that are working right now, and I think they're having problems building this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and try and make this one happen, okay? Everybody hit me up in the chat if everybody understands what we're doing today. I think you're not seeing that. There we go. So I've just put this particular project right here. This is what we're going to try and make build. Hopefully everybody can see it. Let me know in the chat that what we are up to makes sense to you. We're going to try and make a few projects build. Let me know in the chat if you are alive and if you understand what is going on. I can wait here all day. Does anybody have any clue what's going on? Okay, there we go. All right, looks like people are alive and somewhat understand what is going on. And some of you are here to suffer. What is the meaning of life? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I have this project and I'm going to try and build it. Now, what I would usually do in this case is try and build this project locally. Who can tell me what is this first step to trying to get this particular project to build locally? What should I do? Hit me up in the chat. I can wait a minute, but what do you think is the first thing I should do to get this project to build locally? That's right. We are going to clone this project, and I like to do that, as you know, using SourceTree. So I'm going to pull up SourceTree. I think y'all can see that. I'm going to go ahead and file, new. I'm going to clone that project, and I'm going to put it in a good place. Call it class project. And I'm going to go ahead and clone. And it looks like we are cloned right here. And I can go ahead and open that in the Explorer. I'll try and make sure I tell you guys and gals what I'm doing. Here is the class project. I'll just copy that because I want to now open it in Android Studio. I'm going to do file and close this project. And then I am going to open an existing project right here. All right, so I have opened an existing project and you can see there's some background tasks going on. Where's my build window? Here we go. Things are happening. We're gonna sit here and watch this thing build. Okay, any questions, let me know in the chat. Right now I'm just, it's, you know, downloading, updating things that it depends on. I'm gonna get my pasta here while we wait for that to happen. Should build in less than a minute or two. Hit me up with any questions that you have in chat if you're confused as to what's going on. My day is going pretty good, I would say. Hope you all are having a pretty reasonable day. It's Friday. Those of you that are putting in URLs will get your app built today, which will definitely help with grading for you. So yeah, I'd say overall it's a pretty good day. Somebody's asking, what is your app about? Well, this is not really my app. This is somebody else's app. Okay. This version of Android support plugin for IntelliJ. Let's see. Cannot open this project. Please retry with version 4.1 or newer. What the heck version do I have? Oops. That's not what I meant to do. All right, so here I have. We're gonna start trying to debug this. So clearly something went wrong here. And it says this version. I'm gonna paste this in the chat so you can see this in case it's too small on your screen. Here is the error that I'm getting. Do you guys and gals have any idea what you think I should do to fix this issue? Who can guess what I should do? Honestly, I can tell you I'm not quite sure. but who can guess what to do to fix this issue? About the pasta, I have some, what is it? Spaghetti squash pasta, which is basically a squash that turns into spaghetti when you cook it. It's amazing. You should check it out with beef. So somebody said Google it. That's actually a really good idea. There's also an Android support plugin somewhere that I need to update. But I think I like this idea of Googling this kind of thing. So I'm going to Google it just to be safe. Make sure that I don't miss anything. And so here we have an answer. The version of Android Studio cannot open this project. Retry with a higher one. Now somebody's saying try to edit your project build, set the Gradle project to a different one, and also to enable updates, go to help, check for updates, configure automatic updates, blah blah blah. Maybe I want to go ahead and update things. Somebody's saying go to Android Studio, check for updates. I think all of these ideas are pretty good, but I feel better about it since I've Googled it. So help, and where is my check for updates? There's a lot of stuff in here. There it is, check for updates. Let's see what's going on. Yep, 4.1, which is the one we need, is available. So I'm going to go ahead and update and restart. Let's get that started. And hopefully, once I do this, this might actually build. Now, back to the pasta. How many of y'all have ever had spaghetti squash based pasta? Oops. Somebody's asking, is it good? And it is good. So just so you know, I'm now updating Android Studio, and we're going to be, hopefully it's going to restart here in a sec, and then we'll be back in biz. Oh, here it is. It is still updating. So whatever group this did this project, one thing, you are like making it only build on the latest version of Android. And this is actually kind of good. You know, there's a couple ways you could look at this, but in general, you usually want to use like the latest IDE and the latest version of everything as much as possible. You don't want to fall behind the rest of the world. So it's, you know, it's kind of good to make your thing only build on the latest. And my Android Studio, I want to say I just downloaded at the beginning of the semester, so it's not that old, but clearly there's a newer version. And it's very important to use the latest version. Back when I was working on Eclipse plugins, which is Eclipse, for those of you that don't know, is a Java IDE that was super popular back in the day. We would always work on, like, we would bootstrap on the version that hadn't been released yet. So we were always even ahead of the rest of the world. And yeah, it was a little buggy, but it was a great way to kind of make sure you were always keeping up. Yeah, and somebody's mentioning they hate Eclipse, and actually I hate Eclipse now too. Back in the day when it first started, it was amazing, and there was a time that it was like still really nice. But I would say the glory days of Eclipse are now over, and it's kind of got too many issues now. But there was a time when it was like just way better than everything else. Okay, and my Android Studio is now restarting. It's deleting some unused stuff, and the splash screen is up on the other screen, but I can't move that. So it's coming. There we go. And so you can learn all about what's new. The interesting part to us is now a build is going to get triggered again, and we're going to see if it now builds. Who wants to take bets? Do you think this will build, or do you think this will not build? Let me know in the chat. Place your bets. Will it now build, or will it still not build? We're betting 100 points. Just joking. No points are being betted. Ten grade points. I wonder, when you bet 10 grade points, are you saying 10 grade points in your overall grade average, like for the year? Because that's a pretty hefty bet. All right, so here we have it. Build is successful. That's great. So now we have the local build being successful. So now, let's see if we can get the project, on the website build to be successful. So where is that website? Just there. Here we go. Now, who can tell me how can I start to create a build for this project? Who can tell me what am I going to click on in this page? How can I create a build on the server for this project, also known as continuous integration, because every time I commit, a build will be triggered. All right, great. People are saying actions, and they are absolutely correct. I'm going to go to actions. I'm just going to go for a new workflow, Java with Gradle, set it up, commit it. This is already probably just good enough. I'm just going to commit it. I'm going to say I'm going to trying to build it. Let's see what happens. I'm committing it. Now, I have committed it, and that should in itself trigger a build. And let's actually watch the progress of that build. So that should be starting here soon. And there we go. Things are happening. Should be very similar to what we saw on our local machine. Now, let me know in the chat. Things that build on your local machine, do you think they will always build on the server? Who can tell me? Things that build on your local machine, will they always build on the server? First try. Yeah, I think many of you have experienced that, in fact, things that build on your local machine are, I would say, even like just not likely to build on the server by default. They may, of course, you may get lucky, or you may have just set up your project in just the right way. But a lot of times, just because it builds on your device does not mean that it will be built on the server successfully. Because getting it to run on your machine is very different from running on any machine, where the server is an instance of some other machine. So yeah, I would say we probably got a 50-50 chance of this working, but let's see what happens. I have no idea about this project, never seen it before in terms of the nitty-gritty details, and so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Who has ever, besides this class, ever set up a build on a server before? Who has ever, before this class, had to set up a build on a server before? Has anybody ever had to do that before? Just honestly a little curious. If you have, let me know. If you haven't, let me know. Who has ever? Some people have done it once or twice. Some have done it. Some people have not. Some people work in a lab. Yeah, building C on Linux. Heck yeah, that counts. That's hard. Let's see. Uh-oh. So, here we have a failed build. Now, what we're going to do is we have a failed build, which is not a big surprise, right? Like things that built on our machine may or may not build on the server. And that is, honestly, it's just not a big surprise. So let's now put on our detective hats and we're going to try and figure out why is this not building. There's usually like a few reasons. But anyway, we're going to look at this log and see what the heck is going on. I'm going to go down here and let's see. I think I see a problem right now. I see that 3 tests completed and 1 failed. Do you think that a failing test will cause our build to fail? Let me know in the chat. Will a failing test that is automatically run during this Gradle script cause our build to fail? Absolutely. If you have a test that fails, it will cause the build to fail, even though probably the compilation is totally fine. So I believe that the compilation is probably fine. We just have a unit test that's failing. All right, now let's take another bet. Who thinks that when I run unit test here, the test will fail? Let's see. Which test do we even have here? All right, let's run these tests and see if they are passing locally. I'll run all the ones in this particular folder. Looks like there's at least, well, it's building right now. All right, so we're building, I think, before we run these tests. And now we're we found our problem. Somebody's saying their hunch is that geocoder will fail, and from what I see, let's go for right here. I'm opening that line. This fails, whatever is going on here. And you know what? I can just, all right. I don't feel like debugging the test because I feel like that's kind of outside of the bounds of what I wanted to do. So, you know what I'm going to do is just comment this out and save it. And then I'll go ahead and run it again, of course, to make sure that it passes now. It definitely should pass now. All right, so we're building. And oh, actually, no, we're not. It went ahead and passed, of course. And just to be sure, let me make sure there's no other things that are failing. So I'll make sure that I ran this example test too. Yeah. Running, yeah, there we go. Starting to run, I believe. Yeah, there we go. We're gonna run all these. There is the emulator on the other screen. Here it is. And probably some things are happening. And instantiating the test. And the test ran to completion, and they did in fact pass. Somebody's mentioning when I delete all the files I wrote, it works. Well, you know what? That's in a way that's kind of true, right? Your build would definitely work if you let me close that emulator. Yeah, so that's an easy way to get your build to work. However, I want to mention that all we did here was comment out a few lines of this failing test. I could have also just tried to fix this test. I just felt like that was outside of what I need to be doing. Show you guys how to make things pass. But look, there's all this other code that's still getting built, and there is, you know, things still happening here, other tests still being run. Okay, so who can tell me what should I do now? What should I do now to try and get this to run on the server? Who can tell me what do I do now to get this to run on the server? Let me know in the chat. What should I do? Commit and push. That sounds like a pretty good idea. All right, let's now go to, where is my source tree? I'm gonna pull that guy up. You can see now it notices, oh, you got some uncommitted changes. It looks like it's trying to, I don't want to stage that, so I'm gonna unstage that check style thing. I am gonna stage this one where I commented out the code, and I can go ahead and commit this guy and say fixing, I'll put it in quotes, fixing unit test, since I really just like commented out, and I don't feel like pushing it locally and then committing it to master, so I'm just gonna commit it locally and then push immediately to master. I'm doing it all in one step, and then I hit commit. You can see the full output. Uh-oh, completed with errors. Okay, so it looks like during the meantime, somebody might have like done some updates on this particular branch. So maybe I need to go ahead and pull. Somebody else did updates during this time, which is kind of weird, but whatever. I pulled, everything is cool. And then I'm gonna go ahead and push. And let's see what happens. Should just push successfully. Yep, okay, cool. So everything that I did is now on the server, and let's go see what happens in those GitHub actions. Where's my, yeah, there we go. All right, so back here, we're gonna close this build, go back to actions. Now you can see I have just done a new commit, and now it's building again. Let's go ahead and watch that build and see what happens. Yep. And you guys have actually noticed that it was me myself who was doing the conflicting commit. And I did, you're absolutely right, I did this commit of the Gradle.yaml in the UI. I was doing that on the website, and you know, that was the conflicting one. So, but you could see that one wasn't like a conflicting change really, because it was just an entirely different file, so it was trivial just to pull it and then push again. Somebody's asking, what kind of coffee do I drink while we sit here and wait for this to build? Let me see. I drink all kinds of different coffee. Right now I have this thing called Jacobs coffee. I believe it's German. And it's just Jacobs coffee. Kronug, which I believe might be coffee. And it is made by Johann Jacobs, coffee master Johann Jacobs. Pretty good coffee, I must say. Pretty like smooth. So now we're gonna see it build. Ooh, and we see that it was successful. And I think you might even see a report on the test. Well, you can see that the test did not crash, right? So then when we go back to our actions, we'll see, check, everything was cool. All right, there we go. So that's how you're gonna be fixing builds. Now I'm gonna go to Slack here real quick and see if anybody else has pinged that they would like any help on their builds. Let's see. Let's see. 355. All right, anybody else having trouble with their builds and they want to share their URL, we can go ahead and try and get them working. I just gave an example of how to make this one work, I'm happy to try and do the same for anybody else who's having trouble. You know, if you know anybody else that's in the class that's having trouble, you could maybe like ping them and tell them to get on it and give us that URL soon. So let me know. I'll kind of hang out here for a minute or two and see if we can get anybody else that's interested in getting things to build. In the meantime, while we're waiting, I'm going to check out. Wonder what other kind of actions there are available. Let's see what other kind of actions there are. Hearing there might be a Slack notification. Here we go. So I have one that somebody has just posted, and so that one is, hold on, I'm gonna pull this one up. Okay, cool. Wonder if I can, and you can see there it's crashing. And wonder if I can fork this code. It's a fork button. I think. Okay, do I not have permissions to fork this or something? Where is the fork button? Y'all help me out. Security, let's see what security we have here. Oh, that's not it. Go to code and contributors. And you can see that I am not a contributor. Wonder if I have access rights to this. So can you add the user David C. Shepard, it is like this, to this repository? So you would go to, man, where is it? Well, I can't see it, I think, because it's not mine, but I think you would go to like settings and then like add, you know, add me there. I think right now I probably only have read-only access. I guess I could try and do something, but I don't think I can. Maybe I can. Fork this project. There it is. Can anybody help me out with how my fork? What am I missing? Where's the fork button? All right. Top right. Oh, under your profile pic. Thank you, guys and gals. It took me a minute to find that. Thank you. All right, good. Thank you, guys and gals. Sorry I didn't see your chats till now. So now I have this. And what am I going to do first? Who can tell me what am I going to do first? You may guess because I'm starting to do it. But let me know in the chat anyway. What am I doing first? Now, can anybody tell me why I would do this first? Why wouldn't I just start trying to build it on the server? Who can tell me why would I do this first? Why would I ever do this first? So the question again, as I'm cloning this, is why would I do this first instead of just working on the server? Who in the world wouldn't just go ahead and work on the server? Let me know what you think. Why would I do this instead of just working on the server as I'm opening up this new project? And so I'm letting this build and download. Somebody is saying they think it's because it's configured to build by pushing. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a valid thing to say, like way to think about it. Somebody else is getting even closer to what I was thinking. Is it's easier to figure out when you work on your machine, in my opinion, and absolutely, that's what my reasoning was. Somebody's saying it's dangerous to make changes directly on the server. Yeah, it's always better to make it like locally if you can, and also like messing around with GitHub interface instead of working around in your own code base. Like that's just better. All right, looks like this app is building locally, so that's cool. Now, oops, about that. And it even has some code in it. That's great. And so everything's cool. What do you think? Do you think we should go ahead and run some tests since we know that was a problem before? Let's run some tests just to make sure everything's cool there. Running the Android test first. Like it's up and the emulator's running. And it's still building, I believe, but hopefully it'll be coming up soon. So we have some errors with the example instrument test. And it looks like these errors are around compilation, which is weird. I'm just going to do that update, and then I'm going to run that thing again. Looks like maybe there's just some kind of a typo there. I don't know what that was all about. And it looks like that test result ran. Now I'm going to make sure, I'm not sure whether I ran this one too, but let's run this other unit test. Okay, so what I want to do now is switch back to the web view. All right, who can tell me when I set up this action, what do y'all think is going to happen? Who can tell me what's going to happen when I set up this action? You have enough information to answer that question. Who can tell me? I'm going to set up the Java with Gradle, which is just a standard build. Who can tell me what is going to happen when I run this build? Who can tell me? Let me know in the chat. Come on, guys and gals. Let me know in the chat what is going to happen to this build. Should be able to guess. Guess what will happen to this build. Right. Not going to work. Yes. Not going to work because of a directory problem. Maybe, actually, I don't know. I wasn't paying that much attention to that issue. But I'll give you a hint. It is not going to work. And what is the reason that it's not going to work? And you guys, guys and gals, let me know, why do you think it's not going to work? There's a very specific reason it's not going to work. You can take wild guesses. That's certainly acceptable. Does anybody have a guess? That is true that I did not push, but why would the build fail on the server? What is the reason that the build will fail? Like, you could argue that it's because I didn't push, but how will the build fail? Yep, if I didn't push, nothing changed. And remember, the build failure was because it wasn't like compiling that test case. You can see that replicated right here. Like, where is it? Actually, It didn't even make it there. Something went wrong in some lint action. Okay, so we may have some further issues. Okay, so one thing is the test didn't pass, but this one, the build is failing because we have some lint issues. Okay, so does anybody know how to check out lint on our projects? Has anybody ever used lint on your projects? It's just like style checker kind of thing. Has anybody ever used lint, and how do I trigger it? Has anybody ever used lint? Pretty sure at least one person has. I think I've seen them do it. Who has ever used lint? And how do I trigger it here in my IDE? Come on, y'all, wake up out there. Hello. Who has ever used lint, and how do I trigger it? All right, you definitely can trigger it that way. I was thinking of maybe an easier way to trigger it. Excellent, though, that you know that. Another way to trigger lint is analyze, inspect code. So let's try that. Analyze, inspect code the whole project, and let's hit OK. This is going to run it like, I'm a kind of a UI kind of person. I always prefer to run things like via the UI if at all possible. And here you can see that I've run lint locally, and we are seeing at least one error here on Android. And it is right here. All right, and you can see some kind of lint error, and it doesn't like, what is it? Migrate, refactor, migrate to Android X. Okay, so anyway, I can just like double click on that thing. That's obviously the problem right here. I can see if there is a migrate to, hold on, maybe this tells me migrate. Where is that? More actions. I thought it was gonna tell me how to fix this. All right, I guess I gotta actually read this. Refactor, that's where it is, refactor. Refactor and migrate. Refactor and migrate. Oops. And not just generic migrate, but migrate to Android X. So let me get that highlighted again. Refactor, migrate to Android X, and yeah, I don't really care about backing up. And it's cool, I think, right? So now, if I were to go and do analyze, inspect code, whole project, it's gonna run. Right now, ran, and it looks like we still have one error though. Problem. Let's see what that error is. Recommend. So I thought I already did this, but let's try one more time. Refactor. Migrate to Android X. Care about that. All right, so anyway, this is just an old dependency, and it's not automatically refactoring. So I need to figure out what to change this to. So I'm gonna go to Google. Does anybody know what to change this to? I'm gonna go to Google to try and figure it out, but let me know if you know what to change this to so that I don't have to search for this. All right, it looks like maybe I should just change it to this. And let's see what that is. I'll just put these in here, see what's up. I didn't like that. Yeah, I saw that this answer is kind of old, and that definitely worries me, so this might not work. And probably not gonna. Yep, same problems. I'm gonna undo that change I just made. All right, so I just need to figure out what is the new version of this app compatibility thing. So wonder what that is. What is the new version? Yeah, somebody send me what you're using so I can just get the right version of this now. 2800, is that it? How old is this? Yeah, so somebody send me what you're using so that I don't have to search around for what this should really be. All right, here's what somebody else is using. So let's just use that. Thanks, Charlie Dill. I'm gonna try that, and then we're probably gonna end up wrapping it up after that. All right, so now you can see I've replaced it with what we know is working for that person. And let's do analyze, inspect code, all of that. And it's starting to run. And you can see we now get no, you can see that we get no warnings. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be what's going to fix this. Let's go to source tree and commit that thing. Oh, so they don't have a good, what do you call it? They're not excluding things. What file did I just change? That was the build.gradle. So they're committing some of these bin files, which I would not recommend. So I'm just going to stage those two files, the build.gradle and that, and I'm going to go ahead and commit those right now. Commit those things. Now, trying to build. Now, I'm not going to check commit server because I know I think I got to pull first, right? Then I did some changes. And now I'm going to go ahead and push. And it should build, right? Let's go back here to this. And you should see, because I just committed, let's watch this build. Now, this may still fail, but we're definitely closer than we were before. We figured out that we had some lint errors, and we figured out that we had a test error, right? So with those two things being fixed, we're definitely closer. Again, I don't know if it's actually still going to build, but we're definitely closer. While this is building, I want to go ahead and open it up to anybody. If you have any questions, just put them in the chat. I'm reading right now. Just wanted to confirm for this deliverable, we submit a screenshot of our JUnit test on AS and screenshots of at least 8 commits on GitHub Actions. Absolutely. please do that. I think you have a good understanding of what's going on. And let's see what happens now with this build. Do you think it's going to build or not? And also, while we're waiting, of course, give me any last minute questions you have, because we're about to shut this class down. So let me know if you got any questions. I'm about to stop class in just a second. Somebody's asking, sorry if this has been answered, is a deliverable tonight individual group? It is a group deliverable tonight, and you can see that we just had a passing test, I believe. And so this one is now happening. Don't say you never got something for attending this class. So somebody's asking, do I want me, the build output doesn't say anything about if the test pass. If the tests do not pass, then the build will fail. So if you have test and this build is, any of these builds are passing, that means the test also passed, right? So you showing me the screenshot that you have test cases and showing me that you have builds that pass, I know that your test case also passed. Yep, and for bonus, you can even show me that your tests are passing locally. That would be a good thing to show too. Not like required, but a nice to have. The test case can absolutely be dumb. It should have at least one assert, but it can be pretty dumb, and that's not a problem. Yep. Somebody's asking, does everyone need to submit their own screenshots to Gradescope? Nope, this is a group submission, so you can submit one per group. Just make sure that your group, whoever submits it, includes you in that submission. All right, that's I'm gonna have to wrap it up for today. Thanks to y'all for coming. Hopefully this helped clear up how you're going to debug things when things go wrong on builds. It's a very practical class today because I got kind of more questions than normal about how to set up these builds, and I wanted to make sure that y'all saw a couple examples of how to fix them. Hope y'all have a great weekend, and I will see y'all Monday, I believe, although I got to double check if it's a holiday. I'll let you know either way, but I'll probably see y'all on Monday. All right. Take it easy. Bye-bye.